Hello, I'm Get the Cans, and today I'm going to talk about a more sensitive issue. The issue of kids being raised in the COS world, the so-called Church of Scientology's bubble, their belief of the world, their little secluded environment. Now, I'm not a kid who grew up in Scientology, surrounded by, the so-called church, the corporation of Scientology's view on the world and how and how they work. But the one thing that I do know about kids is that they're very good at picking everything up, every last bit of information, everything they see, every habit that they see someone have. They're like information sponges, so you have to take great care in taking care of them. When I hear about things like, kids slavery, or basically kids working like adults, and not really having a childhood and marrying at 14 and twisted things like that, it's like we're not in the medieval ages. So what exactly is going on here? Kids are extremely sensitive when it comes to anything. Being raised in a closed down society, a world, environment, whatever have, it'll affect them deeply, just the slightest thing, and it could scar them for the rest of their lives. It's the time in their life that, as a human being, as that person, that little person, as a human being, it's that time in their life when they're just defining who they are. And if you don't give them an opportunity to just be free, then they're going to be robots. There's going to be a lot of scars that are going to take away more than you would think. I mean, sometimes it seems like the kid's perfectly okay and they grow up to be a perfectly normal adult until they reach a certain situation that's triggered by something horrific that happened, or just by the conditioning that they received when they were younger, and it just affects them for the rest of their lives. Now, I can't speak, for the people, the kids that grew up in Scientology and all that, but I know what it's like to be raised in a closed-down environment, Now, I'm not going to give any details, but there used to be something going on during my youth that affected me in a way that I'm still being affected by today. There's a lot of stuff that you have to overcome, and there's a lot of things that normal people do that you just doesn't click with you. You just don't think of it. It's a no-brainer for them, but they grew up in an open world where they were allowed to be kids. With the way that I was raised, it was terrible. I didn't get a chance to be a kid at all. I don't even know what it's like to be a kid. It's just so hard to... You get scarred for the rest of your life. It's a terrible thing. Basically, you can't have kids being raised in an environment where they're shut down and told to think only a certain way and to only act a certain way, because they'll do it. They'll do it to the extreme. That's the way kids are. That's the way they grow up. And it's not the kind of environment that human beings, should be raised in, because it will screw them up for the rest of their life. Because Scientology, the world within Scientology, may work for a regular adult, but that regular adult came from a regular life and went into Scientology as a choice. When you're raised in it, you're a completely and totally different person. There's a lot of stuff that's just completely alien to you. And it's absolutely unforgivable when you hear about terrible things that happen within that organization. It makes me sick, and I can't stand it. And I understand, and I know what it feels like to be raised in a closed environment and have absolutely no contact with people that are trying to help you. And then the people who are raising you turn you against the people that are trying to help you, and make you think they're the worst people in the world, that they're enemies, and that they hate you, and then you hate them. And when you finally get out, you realize what you've done. These terrible things, these hurtful things, and you got to live with that for the rest of your life. So not only are you scarred by being raised in a broken environment, you're scarred because you have to live with everything that you did. That there's absolutely no way you can just turn back the clock and fix everything. It's It's absolutely ridiculous. I would suggest anyone who's watching right now to go to xscientologykids.com and check everything out. You know? I mean, if anything, it's not a healthy environment for kids to grow up in. It's not acceptable. It's just the kinds of things that you do and the kinds of things you have to do. It's just not normal. It's just unhealthy, and it will scar those people forever, for the rest of their lives. It's just something that they have to overcome. It takes years. So, anyways, this video is long enough, so I'll get to the final words. Children are literally the future. When we stop treating them like human beings and start treating them like pack animals, what kind of future do you think we'll have?